This happened to me 6 years ago, when I was 15 years old, during summer break. I was at a friend's house one night, who I'm going to keep unnamed for privacy reasons. His parents were out that night as it was their anniversary, so we had the place to ourselves. My friend lived in a large 2-story house. His parents had money, so it was a really nice place. Upon entering the house, there was a small hallway which opened up into a large lounge room. And directly opposite the lounge room, on the other side of the hallway, was a dining room, accompanied by a kitchen towards the far end. And just past the lounge room was a staircase that led up to the next story, which basically consisted of bedrooms and bathrooms, from what I remember. But as well as this, there was a small doorway next to the staircase that led into the basement that lay beneath the house. So we were chilling in the lounge room for most of the night, eating junk food and playing video games, basically just the generic things people would do at a sleepover at our age. However, from this point forward, things started to get really fucked up. At about 11 PM, a loud thud came from the basement, followed by the deafening sound of some boxes or something slipping over. My friend and I were immediately freaked out, so we decided to check out what had happened. In the basement, a few various glass pieces and furniture were shattered across the floor, but we couldn't find any evidence as to what had caused it. After investigating the basement, we decided not to worry about it, as it was probably just his dog knocking over a box or something, so we both just shrugged it off and continued to play the video game. After a couple of hours, at about midnight, my friend decided to get ready for bed, so he went upstairs to get changed and brush his teeth, and as he did this, I started up a new game, which meant that I was pretty distracted and preoccupied at the time. So basically, all throughout the game, I heard small footsteps walking around the house. I just assumed it was my friend walking around the house or something, but then something odd happened. The footsteps thudded across the living room and crept downstairs into the basement. I thought it was extremely odd that my friend would go down to the basement like that, so I paused the game and walked over to the staircase to see what the fuck was going on. When I arrived at the top of the staircase leading downstairs, I noticed that the light was turned off in the basement. It was completely dark. I thought about walking down there to see what was going on, but decided against it. Something about this situation was giving me really bad vibes. Why would my friend just walk down into the basement in complete darkness? So instead, I decided to call down there, asking him what the fuck he was doing. My friend replied, but not from the basement. He replied from upstairs, from the bathroom. I immediately began to panic. Someone else was inside the house. I yelled for my friend to come downstairs, and as soon as he came down, I told him what had happened and that we needed to get the fuck out of there. So straight away, I grabbed my phone and we ran outside onto the driveway. At first, my friend thought it could have just been his parents, having arrived home early or something. But their car was nowhere to be seen, and we didn't want to take any risks, so I called the cops. We hid behind a bush in the front yard while we waited for the authorities to come. And while we were waiting outside, we saw the bedroom light from the second story flicker on and off multiple times. In particular, it was coming from the master bedroom, which had a large window facing the front of the house. Through the thin curtains, I could slightly make out what appeared to be a dark silhouette walking throughout the room. However, it was too difficult to see exactly what the figure was doing. But the fact that there was a potentially dangerous stranger who was with us in the house for God knows how long made me incredibly freaked out. Anyways, after a few minutes, a police car pulled up outside the house, and as soon as the car stopped, the light flickered off from upstairs. After we briefly informed the officers as to what had happened, they began to enter the house in search for the intruder. As the cops were searching the house, I heard a small thump come from the right-hand side of the house. It was a very faint sound, but just audible enough for me to hear. I stood frozen, staring towards the direction in which the noise came from. And after about maybe 10 seconds, I saw a figure slowly emerge from the side of the house. Shivers ran down my spine as I quickly realized that this must be the same person that was inside my friend's house earlier. The faint glow of the street light slightly illuminated him, and I could make out that it was an older man, about 6'2", dressed in all black. As well as this, he appeared to be carrying a large, black garbage bag along his back. But before I could get a better look, he quickly darted across the driveway and disappeared into the darkness. By the time we could alert the cops that we saw the man escape, he was long gone. And thankfully, neither me nor my friend ever saw him again. It turns out that the man had scavenged through the master bedroom and had stolen various clothing, photographs, jewelry, and other random items. But the man was never found, so we never knew why the stranger did what he did. But it still haunts me to this day.